Recorded Books presents Ring of Fire 4, edited by Eric Flint, narrated by George Guidell. 71. David Brin. As deeply roiled and troubled as we all have been, ever since the Ring of Fire brought disruption to our time, sending all fixed notions a-tumble, how seldom have we pondered the greater picture, the context of it all, as uptimers so concisely put it. I refer to the event itself, the very act of carving a town out of 20th century America and dropping it into the Germanies 369 years earlier. Engrossed as we have been in the consequential aftermath, we have tended to wave away the act itself. We beg the question, calling it simply an act of God. Indeed, as a Lutheran layman, I am inclined to accept that basic explanation. The event's sheer magnitude can only have had divine originating power. Take that as given. As to the purpose of it all, that too remains opaque, and yet one aspect by now seems clear to most downtimers. By winning an unbroken chain of successive victories, the Americans and their allies have, at minimum, forced a burden of proof upon those potentates who condemn uptimers as satanic beings. To many deeply religious folk, there is a rising sense of vindication, even blessing, about them. The consensus is growing that America was not named for some Italian mapmaker after all, but rather for Himmelreich, or heavenly country, or so goes the well-beloved rumor, nowadays spread especially by the committees of correspondence. And yet, be that as it may, the will of God leaves so many other matters darkly unexamined, even by speculation. Indeed, these appear to be ignored by the Grantvillers themselves. Among those neglected questions, one has burned especially harsh and bright in the mind of this humble observer. What happened to the village of Milda, nestled in a bend of the small river Leutra in Thuringia, when it was erased from our time and reckoning by the Ring of Fire, replaced by fabulous Granville? To many, the answer would seem obvious, that it was a simple trade, a swap, and hence the bemused neighbors of Granville, West Virginians of the United States of America in the year 2000, received, in exchange for their departed metropolis, a few bewildered, terrified 17th-century Germans, hopelessly archaic and primitive, of no practical use at all, except as recipients of kindness and largesse, until, amid the welcoming spirit of that blissful nation, they would merge, adapt, and transform into boring but content citizens, of little import other than as curiosities. A trade? A swap? Oh, perhaps it was so. Only, dear reader, let me endeavor to persuade you that, in the immortal words of the uptime bard and balladeer, Ira Gershwin, it ain't necessarily so. Kurt, Baron von Wolfschild, stared down upon a long column of refugees. For that, clearly, they were, hundreds of them, shambling with meager possessions balanced atop heads or strapped upon backs. And, alongside the road, for as far as he could see with his foggy spyglass, many articles the migrants had abandoned, so that children might ride shoulders instead. Those scattered discards were punctuated by an occasional old man or woman, shrilly insistent to be left behind so that a family might live. Such telltales are all too familiar to a knight whose own demesne suffered this very same fate not so long ago. People, my tenants, villagers and farmers, who counted on my brothers and me to protect them, cut down like wheat or else scattered to the wind. These fugitives were a grimy lot, as clouds of dust hovered in both winding directions along the bone-dry road. In a bone-dry land, he pondered, rising on his stirrups to scan every unfamiliar horizon.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.